The team at Cleverdeals.net are running a bulk buy offer on filament direct from one of the largest and most experienced filament factories in China. To test the quality of the filaments on offer, I bought 10 different ones and tested them. This is the result. I tried 5 different types of PLA, 2 types of PETG, and 3 types of ABS. I printed them all using my QIDI Plus 4 fully enclosed printer with a hardened steel nozzle and a heated chamber. 3 years ago, this would have been considered a high-end printer and might have set you back $5,000, but I paid just £650 for this machine, and it's become my go-to printer for all of my design work and test prints. I guess that what most people will want to know first is the £6 per kilogram basic PLA any good? Well, I got a roll of a particularly fetching baby pink basic PLA for my sample and used it to print this benchy and this test part for one of my commercial products. I used the standard generic PLA settings that came with my printer, and I did not do any tuning at all, so I'm sure that with a bit of effort I could improve these significantly, particularly by adding in some retraction to eliminate these blobs on the outside of the cylindrical item where it's changed layers. Overall, I'd say that this is some of the best generic PLA I've ever used, and in 2025 it's an absolute bargain at the price. I just ordered 50 rolls and a mix of colours to cover my basic PLA needs for testing and light production. I was paying a tenner a roll for this stuff on AliExpress, so this is going to save me quite a few pounds. Next up was the PLA Plus, also known as PLA Pro. It's quite a bit more expensive than the basic PLA, at £10 per roll. My sample was in white, and I guess you can see it's quite hard to tell the difference between this and the basic PLA print. Perhaps the curve at the front of the benchy is a little smoother, and it is available in a wider range of colours, but quite honestly, I don't think the difference in price is worth it. The next roll that I tested was Hyper PLA. This one is in a striking orange colour. It costs the same as the PLA Pro, and although it's available in only 10 different colours, it printed absolutely flawlessly. As you can see, this is probably the best benchy that I've ever produced by just throwing a roll of filament onto the printer and leaving the settings as standard. It has a crisp front window top bridge and clean door arches. It also printed fast, and if you want to go for a high-performance PLA for commercial production, then this is the one that I would recommend. It's just £10 a roll, and that is still a bargain. I wanted to try one of the new silk PLAs, as I'd never printed with them before, and I was intrigued to see how it would go. They are quite brittle when printed, but they look good, so they're intended for cosmetic rather than functional parts. I got a roll of golden silk-coloured material and used it to produce this flashy little number. As you can see, the surface finish is not quite as good as I might like, because of the slight over-extrusion producing blobs on the side of the curved parts, but I'm sure I could eliminate those by fiddling with the settings. It's worth noting that my slicer has a standard setting for silk PLA, which I used for this print, but I'm not sure that the standard setting is fully compatible with this material. There is no universally agreed recipe for silk PLA after all. If you regularly print designs that need this kind of a finish, then the silk PLA might be worth looking at. There are 20 colours available on Cleverdeals.net, and in addition to these standard single colours, the factory also produces multicoloured silk filaments that I decided not to list on this offer, because there are so many different colours. However, if you're interested in that kind of candy cane type filament, you can email me and we might be able to help you out. The last PLA that I decided to have a look at is PLA with a 5% carbon fibre added. I was quite excited about it, but it turned out to be a disappointment as I couldn't get it to work at all. I tried 3 different settings with temperatures up to the maximum recommended nozzle temp of 240 centigrade, shown on the roll, but the interlayer adhesion in all cases was so poor that the model just fell apart in the printer. It's a shame because the finish was an attractive matte black. I could have used it in some of my products, but as far as I could tell, it just won't print properly, so we won't be offering it. Next come the different options in PETG. I tried 2 different types of PETG. A standard in black, which costs just £7.70 per roll in a box of 10, and a Hyper PETG product, which is available for about 16% more than that, £9.25 per roll in a box of 10. The black bedsheet is printed using the cheaper, standard PETG, and the red one is printed using the more expensive Hyper PETG. The Hyper PETG in red has a smoother surface and it printed slightly faster. It is undoubtedly a better filament, but the differences are small. Given the great value price of the standard PETG, I'd be more than happy to use it in all my day-to-day printing, and I've ordered 100 rolls in various colours to prove it. Lastly, I tried 3 different versions of ABS. I've been printing a lot more ABS and ASA since I moved across to fully enclosed printers, so I was really interested to see how this cheaper ABS worked. And the results were good, as you can see. The standard ABS is another bargain at just £7.70 a roll. It produced this nice white bedsheet using standard settings with no tuning. The arches over the door have a little roughness, but overall it's a quality print job considering that it was thrown at the printer using standard settings. This black bedsheet was produced using Hyper ABS, which costs £9.25 a roll. It has a nice matte finish, which I like, but it did print with some fluffy white threads on the upper surfaces. I'm sure they'd clean off quite easily with a little heat or brief exposure to acetone vapour, and it was quicker than the standard ABS print. However, once again I was left thinking that the standard is probably the smart buy here. That was until I tried the carbon fibre ABS, which produced this little beauty. With a slightly matte finish, this is pretty close to perfect. It's only available in black, which is what I used here, and a grey colour that I don't have. But because the carbon fibre is quite abrasive, it requires a hardened steel nozzle to print. But the quality I've got from this filament already has made it one of my go-tos for commercial products like this and this. I've ordered 50 rolls to be getting on with, because at £10 a roll, if you have a modern, fully enclosed printer with a hardened steel nozzle, you need some of this. So there you go. These are the filaments that I've tested for Cleverdeals.net so far, and with the exception of the PLA with carbon fibre, I would say that they're all really good. If you're reading this or watching it on YouTube, I hope you'll take the time to check out the offer on Cleverdeals.net and consider getting a box of 10 rolls to check them out for yourselves. There's a link in the description. Thanks for watching, and bye.